everybody. I'm doing a mini session for one of my patrons. So I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in checking out my Patreon community, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Abbey Normal's Wisdom Quest. All right, so mini sessions. There aren't any specific goals. I'm going to go as guided by spirit. I want to thank you so much for being a part of my Patreon community. And thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with you today. And thank you so much for your open-mindedness to share here with others on YouTube. All right, so I'm going to relax. Let it see what the most meaningful wisdom and healing is for you today. All right, here we go. All right, so I feel inspired just to go visit your energy field. And I will say I feel out of breath. When I come in here, there's a lot of stuff in here. And I mean, it's crazy. It's like there's a glass bottle, old school bottle of like Sprite or something. Like there's random stuff in here. And it's almost like... let's just say we went to the garbage dump and there was a crazy wind that picked everything up and then it just started to circulate around in your energy field. It's really congested with random stuff that seems like something that was thrown away a long time ago, okay? And there's even a hot dog in here, a hot dog bun. Like I'm actually pulling these things out and I'm looking at them. And let's see what else is in here. There's nacho cheese in here. Nacho cheese. Trying to clear this out so I can actually reach you. Who you are beneath the surface of all this buildup. And, you know, perhaps you're cleaning house because you're kind of inside as like the nucleus inside of an energy field full of stuff. And even the nacho cheese is kind of like saturated around everything. And so there's this orangey hue to stuff stuck inside of it. And you seem very small to me, like maybe this is bigger than you are. Like maybe you're trying to clean house, clean out some old stuff, old junk from inside yourself, like cleaning out the past. And it's like maybe the past is too much junk congested in here. It's not easy to just get it out, clean house like this. Okay, so I'm going to have to stop time. I stop time for this process. I separate you, so you have your own relationship with time, and whatever this is has its own relationship in time with time, and everything inside of it has its own relationship with time. So everything is, we're just going to move you over there, move this over there, and that way we can start to figure this out, okay? I ask you what you're holding on to with all that stuff. You kind of say nothing. You're not holding on to anything with all that stuff. And there is a major distortion on size. Like I feel like I'm as tall as the Empire State Building and I'm kind of looking over you and I'm asking you why you're holding on to all this stuff. It's kind of intimidating and you're just this little shadow. It's almost like you're a little shadow. But once I go down to your level, I'm really not that tall. I'm only maybe like 6 feet tall. But I do look like a building that is much larger than yourself. From the building's angle, I'm enormous. Like I'm touching the clouds. Like I'm really tall, okay? Then from your angle, I'm maybe like 6 feet tall, but still I'm bigger and taller than you. And I'm asking you this intimidating question about why are you holding on to that? I'm not. I'm not holding on to that. I'm, you know, so you're kind of like answering the question in this way. It's not easy to make this distortion go away. So I'm going to have to continue to be this building talking to you. And you're going to continue to be just like a little shadow, like 3 feet tall. And I'm going to continue to what is emit the sound of threatening you, okay? Intimidating you. I'm kind of the big boss tower. I'm this big building and you're just this little shadow. Even my shadow is bigger than you as a shadow. And so I'm going to continue to emanate that until I can understand what your relationship is with this. Because the tower, this building, it can't be anything but what it is. It can't be kind. It can't be nice or open-minded or supportive in any way. But it is, in a way, practical. And asking a practical question and expecting an honest response. And it feels like you're withdrawing from too much information or being too direct. And maybe you don't really know the answer exactly. I have to stop time again. And I leave this building presence behind in order to understand what is your relationship with this building. I mean, it's like a high-rise building. And I try to disconnect you from it, and it's not easy. Is this another thing that's coming out, like the old glass pop bottle and the hot dog and bun and all that stuff? Maybe this is another thing that's coming out. You feel really restricted. You feel really tight. You're still digesting your reality in a relationship with time, so we're going to take time out of the picture. There's no such thing as time with what we're going through here. In order to understand or solve this riddle, we're just going to make time disappear. Now we have all the time in the world to whatever. And I'm removing you from the shadow. I'm removing you from time. I'm removing you from anything else that is attaching you to this building. When I remove you, you actually become very tiny little ticks. Actually, like millions of little tiny ticks, like those little spiders. And you become millions of them. And you start to spill out all out on the ground. It's almost like you don't know your own power. You don't know your personal power here. We'll get back to what is the nacho cheese stuff. Because this building seems like its own issue. And it's about personal power. So the tick is just this little tick, right? It's just this little bug, but it can do so much damage. Like, it's not just a little thing. It's a big deal. It's a big thing, you know? And so you're representing this tick, but you're running away in fear. You're running away from the building in fear. And the tick is actually emanating that it doesn't understand its own personal power. It doesn't understand that it is a threat. The tick is the threat here, okay? So you have something going for you, that you have a stance or a position, and you don't realize what your personal power is. You don't realize what you're bringing to the table fully yet. And this building, which could even be a person maybe, should feel a little bit more cautious about you, maybe? I don't know. I don't like these things about threats, you know. I've got something you don't have. No, I do, you know. What does it really accomplish here? It kind of becomes ego, but that's literally what this next conversation is about. You do have to, though, keep like a tough shell. Like, you do have to keep a little bit of strength to your stance, because I start to fill the ticks with like pop potpourri, like really good scents, and like beautiful flowers and nice smelling candles, and lovely things. Like, so I emanate the energy of lovely things into the ticks, millions of ticks, in order to alter their pattern, alter their flow, to soften them. But the energy says, no, I must still be a bit strong. I must be strong in my stance. I can't just soften up right now. Okay. All right. I feel like we got to go deeper. Okay. So I'm going to move everything away that we've seen thus far. Just clearing out the space. Clearing out the space. Then we're going to start from scratch. And I'm going to ask the spirit realm, the energy world, all right, we've seen this, we've had these conversations. What's deeper than all of this stuff? So we can clear this out today. Again, alteration and perspective. There is a very small door quite a ways away, but the door casts a very large shadow. And I see a very small boy that is just the right height of this door. But the boy is almost like never able to reach the door, almost like there's kind of a joke. It's like one of those dreams where you're trying to get to this point and you never can reach it. Now you're running away from that thing and you're just running in place. So it's kind of like a scenario like this where you represent this boy as trying to get through this door. The door casts a very large shadow. You ignore the shadow, but you can never really reach the door. So this is what we're working with now. I'm going to bring in this hot dog. I'm going to give it to the boy. I'm going to tell him don't worry about it. He says, ew, that's gross. That's garbage. Why did you just give me like an old hot dog out of the trash? Like, well, it didn't look garbagey, actually. It looked kind of like a clean, fresh hot dog. Like, it looked like a fresh bun. It really did. But I'm tasting it in your mouth and it tastes like trash, like an old banana peel or something. It's gross. And I say, what do you make of all that trash stuff? You start to feel emotional and you start to cry. And you kind of take the hot dog and you kind of squish it in your fist a bit and you toss it onto the ground. And you take this pop bottle and you throw it a very long ways. This like actual glass bottle, and I hear it hit the ground and roll, okay? I say, what are you going to do about this? You have more power than you know. You have some ingredients you can bring to the table to alter the way things are. What can you come up with? Give me an idea. In this energy scene, you can do anything you want, but I want it to come from you. You say sometimes when you're like in a bad mood, you don't want to be happy. And that good smells, the pot potpourri, you know, all that stuff was not what you wanted at that time. It just like you wanted to vent. It's more like you just wanted to vent and not let the goodness in. You wanted to get the badness out. You want to get all that out. And when it comes out, you're not ready for happiness until you get all that out. I say, okay, we'll get it out. You say, I want to go back to the building, and instead of being like ticks, I'm going to be like termites. Even though the building's not made out of wood, you're going to kind of represent something that could break down, maybe an ant or something. Like you could break down these materials. Like you could break this building down with 1 million of yourself if you had this like ability to break things down, okay? So you start to swarm the building and you want to break this building down. And it actually does make you feel a lot better. And I see you actually breaking it down as a bunch of ants. And inside there is a consciousness. There's somebody inside of the building. And it's a female emanation, and she's kind of in a plastic bag, and she's suffocated. But she's also angry as well, and she's kind of, it's a clear plastic bag, literally, as she sort of stands her ground. And I'm very confused as to what she's doing or why she thinks that that's a good idea. And I like send that feeling to her. Like, do you know that you're in a plastic bag and you're suffocating, and you're trying to convince us you have a strong stance? I feel like you're building a lot of fantasy. You're doing a good job of it, but none of it's actually healthy truth. You know, you're not standing in the healthy truth. I can get you out of this plastic bag. That might help you feel better. You say the building's gone and she's exposed. And that's all you wanted. You just stand there and look at her, and she silently looks at you now. And there's nothing else left. And something in your heart is kind of uncomfortable, feeling sad, like you got a poke in the heart with a sharp object, and it's just a little poke, but it was felt. And there's no real retaliation that you can do. You can't retaliate, even if you wanted to. You did what you wanted to do with the breaking out of the building. You can't really go further than that. They say, then just see her for what she is. And see what you're up against is somebody that has suffocated themselves. You're not up against much. And don't let that hurt you. If anything, feel sorry for them. And know who you are, okay? Know who you are. And let's get rid of these distortions of size and distance and time. This really clears a lot of energy out the back of the neck and the back of the head. And I feel a bit dizzy in my brain, to be honest, but I feel better. I ask you if you want some good smells now. You want some nice smells, and I take you to like Von Maur or some like department store. We're just gonna like start spraying all the perfumes until we can't even tell what they smell like anymore. And some of them will be good and some won't, but this will be fun. And there'll be good smells in here. Yeah, you're okay with good smells now. You're okay with it. In fact, it's kind of nice. And you feel inspired to go buy a fresh bouquet of flowers. And they remind you of like the beauty of nature. And you bring that into your home in a nice vase. Like literally I see it on a kitchen table, and it breathes new life into you. All right, that's all I can share. Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this experience. I really relate to being in those shoes and in those feelings and having scenarios where I am up against somebody else or something else that feels bigger than myself. And maybe there's no like taking it down, but there's only just maybe coming to a new level of awareness. And that brings balance to everything. Now you can start bringing in the good smells, you know. You can start moving forward to the next thing. All right, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day.